Hello, this is a prepaid call from an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. Your current balance is $44.63. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
Hello, Northern Nick. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing good. Who's on the call? I couldn't hear when it rang in.
This is Taylor Jonatakis. This is my first time calling this vigil, and I really appreciate the opportunity to call you guys.
Hey, Taylor. I'm Tom. I'm Tom. So thanks, Taylor.
Okay. Tom, it's good to meet you. I've heard a lot about Northern Neck. I never had the opportunity to do any time there, which it sounds like is probably a pretty good thing. And but I hear a lot about kind of some of the things that were going on there and just some of the nonsense. And one of the things I've been really appreciative of, I've been in this facility here for going on 4 weeks, and I've been really appreciative about the people who came before, right? The people who were here originally, the Chris Quagg. There's a whole bunch of people that were here and got shuffled around, got some diesel therapy, and I'm really grateful that those guys came before and experienced and exposed to the world and really to the system itself what was going on inside of some of these jails. It really is tragic, an offense towards one is an offense towards all, and it's really amazing that there have been underprivileged and different communities that have gone through these facilities and haven't had a voice to reach out and make a difference. So you guys that are doing this vigil and are still maintaining this vigil at the Northern Neck facility, you're doing God's work. I mean, you're doing a great service to expose some of the things that happen in these jails. So thank you guys for doing that, and thank you for allowing us the opportunity to have our voice. So thank you.
Well, thanks for that, because the reason that we do it is because we believe that this is your opportunity to use your voices and get it out there to everybody who can listen. But you're right. Things have been exposed throughout all of these jails that have housed you amazing January 6ers, because you're unlike any other prisoner that goes through a typical jail. And you're brave enough to speak up and speak out, and you know what your rights are. And that's why some of these things are coming to light. Now, there have been a lot of people who have been fighting for criminal justice for a long, long time. And, I don't want to take away from them because they've been fighting a good fight. But I think it's going to get out to more and more people.
Yes, and one of the things that's unique about the January 6ers is, for the most part, most of us were not exposed to the criminal justice system prior to this. I'm 40 years old. I turned 40 years old the day I walked into the J6 Gulag, the DC Gulag, the Patriot Pod. It was my birthday. And I'd never been inside of a jail prior to that, other than associated with my arraignment, in the January 6th thing. And in my particular case, I was one of the first 50 that was indicted. If you look me up on Twitter, you can look up #BeardedMir. I was the very first person that sedition hunters turned in. And even they, when they did a little background research on me, said we were excited to bust a domestic terrorist. This is not only... Right? They said that about me, sedition hunters, right? But yet here I am. I've been convicted of 7 charges, 2 felonies, or 3 felonies of Congress charge, right? And then I got the assault associated with that, and then another assault charge. And in my particular case, I didn't argue the facts, law, jurisdiction, or venue at any point. I never submitted a motion. I simply rolled along for the entire ride. I literally became a mirror to the system. I let only the prosecution's words be the words that were said in the trial. And there was one exception to that, and that was when I had the witnesses on the stand. And so I had 3 officers that took the stand in my trial. And one of the officers, I asked him, did you and I even interact? Because all they had with him was his body camera showed me walking up some stairs outside the Capitol. I never went in the Capitol. And he goes, no, you and I didn't interact. Okay. Did I hurt, harm, threaten, or injure you in any way? And he goes, no. And then I said, do you accept my sincere apology for my roles in the events that day? And he said, yes. And then I returned his testimony to him for settlement and closure without arguing the facts, law, jurisdiction, or venue. The second and the third officer that got up, I asked the same question. Did I hurt, harm, injure, or threaten you in any way? And one of them said, no. you didn't hurt, harm, threaten, or injure me. And then he said, oh, it's water under the bus, man, when I asked if he would accept my apology. He said it's water under the bus and that I didn't hurt, harm, injure, or threaten him in any way. And the third officer said the same thing. He said, yeah, man, thank you. No, you didn't hurt, harm, threaten, or injure me, right? So in my particular case, I was charged with an assault, but the people that they put on the stand to say that I committed an assault said that I did not commit an assault under oath, penalty of perjury. And yet here I'm sitting in this prison. So it is a unique situation because most people who get charged for assault, maybe, right? I'm not saying all the January 6ers who committed assault were actually committed a real assault, but in the normal world, my sense as an outsider was, well, if you go to prison, you did something. You did something, right, to deserve to be there. But now that I'm sitting on this side, I'm like, I don't necessarily know that that's true. The United States Department of Justice, and somebody can fact check this statistic, but it has like a 98.2% conviction rate. The Soviet Union, at the height of its corruption, I have a political science degree, and I remember learning, had like an 80% conviction rate. In the Soviet Union, you had at least a 20% chance that you might get acquitted, right? Our State Department would say it was a kangaroo court, these were star trials, and it was a completely... But yet our Department of Justice maintains a 98.2% conviction rate? How is that possible?
And we have the highest incarceration rate in the entire world.
Exactly. And a normal person will say, well, in the United States, you're not really convicted unless, or, they don't even charge you with a crime unless you really did it. Well, no, that's not really the case either. I have a neighbor that after I got arrested, someone I've known for 10 years, told me, hey, I served 18 years in a federal prison because I got charged with, he was a dean of a college, and he got charged with some kind of corruption bribery scheme because he was traveling overseas for students, and he took some poker chips and gave it to it was like the weirdest construed bribery charge on the planet. Bribery with no benefit. And he spent 2 years of his life, $500,000 with attorneys fighting it, got all the charges dismissed, and then they dropped 8 more charges on him and said, if you don't take a plea deal, we're going to go to trial. And at that point, he's totally bankrupt, right? So he ended up pleading to these charges and spending 18 months in prison because he didn't have 2 more years and another $500,000 to fight it. And then, if our system is set up where it overcharges people to try to encourage them to take a plea deal, and that's why they're getting this 98.2% conviction rate, and they're cycling people in and out of these prisons, it's absolutely disgusting. And it's really easy to say, right, that, but what do we do about it? I often have been telling people, I am in prison right now, and the other men that are here with us, we are in prison because the people on the outside consent to allow this system to continue. So that's why I give such kudos to you guys for taking a stand and doing these visuals, because yes, lots of people have been working on the criminal justice system, and we are going to add our voices to that, right? When this is all said and done, 1,300 to probably going to end up being well over 2,000 before they're done, criminal defendants coming out of January 6th. First of all, it's the largest case of entrapment our country's ever seen, and I don't make that claim. I'm just kind of saying, listen, January 6th was a bear trap, no matter how you want to slice it. If you want to blame President Trump or you want to blame somebody else, I think anybody in their fair mind can look at January 6th as a giant bear trap, wouldn't you say? So at the end of the day, there's a lot of people like myself who've lived a good life, kept myself clean, never had any kind of issues, all of a sudden found himself in a situation where I'm facing the entire might of the federal government coming down on me. And so, yes, I hugely kudos to you guys for standing out and doing.
Well, that was really... Sorry, that was really well said, and it painted a really graphic picture. So nice job with that. The entire weight of the federal government coming down on poor, plain old citizens. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. And the real thing too about this is, I'm here. I'm in a safe place. Generally, it's generally a safe place. It's jail. We can't forget that any minute of the day, right? Even in the Patriot Bond. However, the people who are really punished by this are the families. I'm a father of 5 children, 17. 14, 11, 6, and 4, all living at home. My wife has been a stay-at-home mother. I've been able to provide a living for her to be a stay-at-home mother for all these years.